Hello. Today I basically asked a bunch of the best ranked players in the world to analyze my run, and I found the results very interesting because there's obviously a lot of differences between everybody's ideas, but basically just what I'm going to be doing is going through the run and uh, talking about the different routing decisions that I could have made and all of the micro that goes along with it. So the first thing to talk about is right off the rip. So I spin in a circle and then I look this way, and the first thing that I notice is this desert village and this temple. Two people commented about this decision, both Feinberg and Dugal, and Feinberg says, I think not playing temple is correct because it's going to be the wrong direction from any possible lava pool, because we can see this mountain over here, of course, is kind of cutting off any potential. It's way more likely to be over in this desert. Um, and that was his reasoning, but Dougal says that he thinks sending the temple is correct. Um, and his reasoning is that you get TNT, wood, and flint early, making it faster to the village, and the extra blocks of TNT can save time later in the run. Could have allowed for golem skip. I would still go to village post temple because even if the iron hits, it's on the way to the lava pool. Easy food. You'd still want to check the blacksmith for obby. Some other micro notes. Yeah, so basically those are the two writing differences in the overworld. So I can actually just check this temple. So the thing I guess I would want to note is like these are pretty similar distances. The temple's a little bit farther, but I checked earlier and the temple is actually like the incorrect play because it only has one iron. It's like not the intended structure. The intended structure is this blacksmith. Duel's play obviously still has merit, because if you think about the line that you're drawing from this temple to the village to the lava pool, like it's pretty straight of a line compared to like you'll see when I get into this run, my village routing is a little bit messy, but I'm not sure if I fully agree with Duel on that. I think the um, blacksmith, like just seeing the blacksmith is like it's most likely a desert village seed, and if I had routed the village better, which comes to my next point, it would have been a bit faster. So the next routing thing and just a misplay is as soon as I decide that it's a desert village, I should be grabbing all of these sticks because these are always going to be useful on desert village seeds. I mean, punching them out in the first place already saves time on punching logs, but on top of that, it can create very, very clean lines. And so if I skip ahead a little bit and go to this blacksmith here, I would loot this, and there's no pickaxe, so I would have to now. What I would do if I had these sticks is I would go to this crafting table house and craft a gold shovel and an iron pickaxe, and then go back to the blacksmith, uh, grab the 3 cobblestone, and then mine the um, craft my axe. And what I could also do after that is, since the golem is like right here, I could have killed the golem right away. And then my line becomes very clean because if I kill this golem, then um, also I would have my crafting table because I would pick it up, and I could kill the golem and then go to this tree over here. But you see what I do is I'm not ready for that, and so I go around and I punch this tree out instead. Um, Before we go into this tree, because there's actually a lot of stuff that gets talked about here, so let me go back a little bit to this part where I'm grabbing this hay. It's good to grab this hay early because you're always going to be punching the hay, so you just want to be, making it as clean of a line as possible, and this is directly in my path to the blacksmith. But the important thing here is that Loki mentions that he would have grabbed 6 hay bales instead of the 5 I grabbed, which is because he plays very aggressively sometimes, which I like that as a concept because it's not only more consistent because you have more food, but it also does allow the opportunity to chug a lot more food later on in the run. So I like 6 hit balls. And the other thing is I'm going to mention some of the micro that has been mentioned. So something that Dougal pointed out was that he probably wouldn't have grabbed the armor or the apples. And his reasoning for that is um, you already have plenty of food, so apples would just clutter your inventory, and the iron armor can be annoying if you need to replace it with gold armor quickly. And obviously also just the extra looting loses a bit of time. I like both of those points. So as long as I have hay bales, I'm not going to be grabbing the apples from the chest. And I was thinking about maybe I only grab chestplate and pants from the chest because that actually is like a little bit more significant of armor than helmet, but I'm not 100% sure on my decision making there. I might just fully avoid armor in the future, avoid iron armor in the future. Then the next thing, which is this is a very micro thing, but I think it's good to mention because Duo mentioned it, and it's really smart as well. Um, while I'm here, I should be punching this crafting table out, and that's because I um, then I don't have to craft the crafting table, and so I can punch one log instead, and the crafting becomes a little bit more linear as well. Um, because I can make everything in my 3x3 instead of 2x2 and then in 3x3. So like I only open like one inventory basically. Um, and so now we have one other thing I want to also mention is something to point out that Infume pointed out actually was that he liked being in F5 while I'm running through here and staying in F5 while I'm punching these hay bales out and just kind of being aware and looking for my line. So that is just something that like I thought I would mention is just like being super aware and just constantly like scanning for um, info because obviously I'm still looking for my lava pool. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to get from this blacksmith, but um, more info is better. So now, once we're at this tree, I do this crafting and this crafting is like embarrassingly slow. I don't know why I'm so confused on this crafting, but um, it's not good. But eventually I dig down, grab this stone, and am mining this tree. And at this tree, so something that Hacks mentioned is that I should have placed my crafting table differently so that if I placed it, for instance, like where I'm standing or even one block away from there, I could have used my crafting table to stand on top of to shear the leaves, giving me just like easier access and like more because I can't reach the top from the ground, which you'll see in a second. And the other thing with these leaves as well is Infume says to mine the leaves first and then grab the logs after so that I can overlap picking up the leaves with mining the logs. And this is something that I knew, but I just, I guess I got lazy. Um, so this routing is like almost fine because obviously I have to go grab that gravel and that's like kind of close and whatever. But the biggest problem is this golem is makes my line very messy. And so if I had killed the golem earlier, it would have been a lot nicer. But now that I finally am killing it, one thing to mention, what Dougal mentioned, is that I should have actually lured the golem towards this water pool instead of, so if I just punch it there and then build up over here, or just even better, probably over here. I don't know how the golem's pathing would be around this cave actually, but it would have just been a micro time save and something that I don't think about enough. And then the next thing that's coming up in a second is this crafting split. Hex didn't like this crafting split, and I can agree with him there. Basically, what I should have done is, and is more optimal, is if I get this gravel off my bar, and then instead of search crafting the bucket, I just manually craft the bucket. So here, I'll just actually demonstrate. So what I should be doing is instead of search crafting my bucket and then like manually crafting the flint and steel, which I don't really know why I even did. Normally I would craft my flint and steel at the portal because it's sometimes nice to have a clean overlap, but in this case I had my flint and I just wanted to get it done, and I think it might actually be faster, but I should be crafting like this and then crafting my bucket and then crafting my flint and steel directly after that, and I can kind of overlap them 2-in-1. And also, the important thing though is I should be taking this gravel off of my bar because, or maybe this obsidian's in my flint and steel slot, because you see when I craft this bucket, it goes down to the bottom right of my inventory, and that's really bad because now after I craft my flint and steel, I have to do this, open my inventory, and flick all the way down to the bottom right of my inventory, and then fix my bucket, fix my flint and steel. And it was just very messy, resulted in a lot of extra inventory managing that is completely unnecessary. So that is mostly it for the overworld. I think the biggest thing is like I do just get punished here because like my line just isn't as clean because I didn't kill the golem early. Killing the golem early doesn't always necessarily work, but generally it would have been pretty good on this seed because I had to go and run and grab that water and come back. There was no more notes about this overworld, although I personally would have done this portal a little bit differently, I think now, because I had to wait a second there. If instead I just did the portal, instead of placing this lava, I just do that lava, these 3 lava in a row, and then take away the water, and then do the bottom right, the bottom left, the floor, the 2 floor ones, and then the top left one here, it would have been slightly faster portal. Because I have to wait here for like a few ticks. So then once we enter the Nether, there's a lot of discussion about this next initial play. So I originally spawn or I initially spawn on the bridge, and I'll just let it play out, and maybe you could have your own kind of opinions on what I should have done. I know I misplayed, but we'll see. Okay, so you maybe weren't expecting a death in this run, but I found this run in general to be pretty packed with weird decisions, and it's a weird seed, and that's what I liked about it, and that's why I chose it. And it was kind of longer as well. But basically, even watching myself back, it's like so hard. Like I feel like I've improved a lot even since then. But so what I should have done was, okay, so Infume says he likes breaking the portal. I think Hax maybe said he likes breaking the portal as well. And but the biggest problem is that one thing that Raul said, who I didn't actually ask, but Hax watched the run on stream, and he says that maybe you don't break the portal because the hoglins will be scared of the portal and instead just like drop a piece of gold. And that is potentially another option. I'm not going to say if it's perfectly correct or not, because obviously your portal being here means pigs might run through it. And so generally when you first spawn on the Bastion, you want to be breaking this portal right away, but it would have helped me survive for sure. Then the next thing is that everybody said, and I don't know why I didn't do this, but I was thinking about doing it, but I think my idea was I wanted to go into my inventory to grab the gold ingots. And so that's like something that Feinberg mentioned is I could have put the gold ingots on my bar before I entered Nether, just in preparation, because generally you need gold anyway. Like in a run, you're always going to put your gold um, on your hotbar, so like might as well put it earlier. Um, and the other thing is that I had this gold shovel that I could have also dropped to the piglins. But what everybody said, and what you might be thinking about right now as well, is I should have just ran directly straight through this hoglin. Because I kind of double back to like go into my inventory. But there's really no point for me to be doubling back at all. I should just tank all the damage because I have all of this bread and just run through, and then I wouldn't have had to deal with this whole situation. Um, and One thing that I'll say from personal experience is just when you're trying to save yourself from a situation like this, don't place your leaves on your feet level because that's where all your items are and they may burn. Don't ask me how I know that, but yes, just don't do that. Try to only place them at your head level so that you can protect all of your items and keep them all in a nice little one by one, but not burning them. Um, and next, I have a little bit of a recovery here. I go back to the Nether. I grab some blocks to see if I can make this something happen, basically. I spawned differently because I broke my portal. And I hop in the hole and then grab my items. And they're all sorted, so I can just quickly boat out. But they're slightly misaligned because the piglins stole my shovel. And then here, there's just not much. It's just mining a chalice, but there is a bit more micro that I should be doing here, which we'll see in a second. Um, and that's like the thing is like there's a lot of different things that are covered in this, and um, I like kind of having them all laid out in this way because it's very nice to have like the micro and the macro. So here, when I'm crafting this, what I should do is I should put my armor on my hotbar. Um, and um, I think the most optimal way would have been if I had offhanded my bread here. Um, Actually, how would this have worked? Actually, yeah, that would have been crazy optimal. Okay, so basically, um, Duo says like I should have gotten my helmet on my bar, which is just true, um, so that I could mine this gold block, put the helmet on, and then the gold block goes into the slot instead of into my inventory, because this is all unnecessary inventory management. But also, what I just realized is like, if I had put, so I crafted gold, and then I put my crafting table down, and so now that's a free slot. And if I had offhanded my bread at some point, then I craft my gold pick and gold helmet, and they would both go onto my bar. And then after that, I could have just mined the um, gold block and then put on the helmet, and then the helmet or the gold block would have been my helmet slot. And so that would have been really clean overlap. So that's just a micro thing. Um, and then, oh yeah, Infume did not like killing this Hoglin. I thought it was a one hit, and even if it is a one hit, that was still just a bad play because I have so much food. It's just time loss on the run. If anything, I kill it after I do my route. But yeah, I just shouldn't have killed it. Um, Okay, so next thing is I'll just let this play a little bit, this route that I do. I'm doing Jason route, except I kind of mess up because I don't have my hotbar organized properly. Um, and so most of the runners don't actually like do Jason. Um, so instead they would have done right DK, I think, in this scenario. I personally like Jason, and Dougal agreed with me that he likes Jason as well. But the biggest thing is that I would have done. I did Jason slightly wrong. So there's a couple things that I should have done in this scenario. Um, so here, um, it was just because I came at it from a weird angle that I kind of forgot how to do the route. But normally you aggro here, but it doesn't really matter. That matters is you're aggroing the guys on the bridge and aggroing the guys at the lodestone. So instead, I should have let this guy out of the boat first so that he's not shooting me while in the boat while I have to grab it. And then from there, this block is misplaced. I should be placing it down here instead. And so I don't think the lodestone guys dropped because of that. Meaning I had a lot less pigs than what you normally would get with Jason. There's a slightly more optimized version of the buried hole that I should practice, but I don't know it yet. I've just seen Dugo messing with it a bit. So just know that this is not perfectly optimal, but it's decent. And so one other thing I will just quickly mention about adjacent row is right here, there's a bit of confusion because it's weird what happens, but after I let all these pigs in, wait, or did that happen even before? Okay, I think it literally happened before. Okay, so I went down like this, after I go down here, yes. So right here, since I'm buried, I right it's right there. There's the fort. So it's mostly behind my face cam, which is why it's a little bit even weirder. But that's the fort down there, and so it's obviously just very visible from Jason, which I will say like um I guess this is an advantage of Jason, but I think the same thing could happen in reverse. But I don't know. Well, I guess not, because you're going to be looting the chests anyway with Jason, so you're going up eventually, but yeah, slight advantage. This, I don't think this has ever happened to me before, so probably shouldn't even be accounted for. Then from here, something that Infi mentions is my Bastion routing is a little bit, it's just not perfectly optimal. I should really be immediately going for a pearl hang. So as soon as that pearl pops out, I think it's totally correct to just grab it and go for a pearl hang, because it just makes my line like cleaner later on, because like I'm already down here, and so I can throw the pearl and then not even have to think about that. And then from here, there's some routing things and some micro things as well. Um, so firstly, I loot these two chests, and this is fine, but after this, I don't get any obby from those, so I decide to go to the other side. Infium's like, I don't think you should go to the other side. He disagrees with going to the single chest, even though it has the obby. I think because of boosted obby trades and I already had 5 obby on me, or 6 or something, I'm just gonna get the obby for my trades. But I think the biggest problem here was that I didn't do the route correctly, so I'd have less pigs, I think. And then from here, I kind of tweak out on the routing a bit because I want to go for the single chest, but I have never really thought too deep about like the buried routing back to the other side. And I kind of do this weird thing where I like go up for a little bit and then go down and then run through here because in my head, running through here was faster because I get those head hitters and the line is cleaner, but it's actually just not. Because if instead I go up here, I already have the height. And so when I would go here, let me show in game. Going back through here, if I just went up like this, mine these 3 blocks, and then hit that jump and looted the single, then on my way back, all I have to do is just like drop like 1 block there, and then I'm like down, and this is already lined out, obviously. And so then I can hit these head hitters back to my big one. Instead of going down and then up and then back down, I'm just going across and then down, and it's just way cleaner of a line for only having to mine 3 extra blocks, so that is just better routing. And I will be thinking about that in the future, after my Jason buried hole. And so the next thing after this is a little bit of micro, which is this looting here, and this is something that Dougal pointed out, was this micro here. I go to craft, and what I want to do is craft both a axe and a shovel, because I like having a shovel on the run. But I think it's good of a play, but like what I do here for this crafting is just very slow. I go to search craft the axe, and then I go to search craft I go to just manually book the shovel after. So instead I should either be search crafting both, or even better is if I just manually crafted the axe and the shovel overlapped at the same time. It probably is the fastest. That's something that Dougal mentioned. And then after this, I go to this single. Also, Hax would have crafted an iron sword. Just something to mention. I do agree that iron sword's correct. It's just a little bit overwhelming for me right now, but I think it is just correct play because it's going to save you a little bit of time per blaze. And then here, I don't loot the crossbow or the iron. And Dougal isn't happy with me. Both of those are important for crossbow, obviously, because it's a crossbow, and then the iron for iron bars. Now I am going back to my trades, and I think there's only one more thing to mention with this kind of split. Yeah. So after I leave here, I pick up my trades, and something that Dougal points out is I throw this pearl, but I should really be throwing my pearl to this pillar, because it's nice to throw them on the pillars, obviously, because it's too hard to connect with that, like 2 blocks, but the rightmost pillar is obviously the direction of where the fort's going to be. Okay, and now we're in the fort. So the first thing is that Dougal mentions that I should be throwing more aggro pearls. Like here, I should just be sending a pearl. You just want to get yourself, I think, in general, into like the heart of the action, and that just allows you to have like the most opportunities to spot the spawner. But I instead just like kind of run, and I'm just like trying to be very aware about like I don't think this. Like, I'm just confused about the decision, and I'm kind of stalling instead of kind of making, you know, like making things happen as fast as possible. Other thing is like, Hax mentions swapping to the game render pie chart, and scanning for the spawner before I even enter the bad part. Before I even enter the berry part, sorry. Because just having that info, especially for when I have so many like pathways that I could choose from, it's just good to have. So I could have scanned for it way earlier. Okay, so the next thing is like this pearl hang. So I'm just gonna kind of like let this play while I talk a bit about it. So I go back down here and I spot this fort. Sorry, I spot this spawner. And then after that, like I'm just hearing blazes around me, and so I dig up to these blazes. And I have this pearl hung at this spawner still the whole time. And I kill these three strays, and there's a couple withers as well. And then after these three strays, I hear more strays, and I'm trying to find them. And then I see another stray, so I go kill that one, and then I hear more still, so I go to try to mine them, and I'm mining in here, and then we'll see how, like, you can just kind of imagine, like, this is, like, the time investment for these strays right now is pretty major. And then eventually I'm just on a spawner, which is like super weird, but I find these three blazes. And this is a point of contention. So I was able to get like 7 blazes, but I don't know how worth it was, because now I unhang my pearl and I'm at the spawner, right? But the thing, so I'm gonna just go through what everybody else says and kind of maybe my opinions afterwards, but this is what Feimer says. Feimer says he liked the pearl hang idea, and says that there is an argument for insta heading to spawner, but says the amount I played was fine. Loki wouldn't have forced the buried places, but doesn't think it's a bad play. Axe prob wouldn't force the strays as hard, but it depends. Dougal doesn't like digging for blazes, would only go for them if right in the face, otherwise don't think they are worth on average. And Infume disagrees with playing for strays early because only 2 to 3 and pretty out of the way. Only time you'd save is going for 6 or 6, and thinks it's too much overcommitting in a congested part of the fort. But I didn't get that punished for it because there was still quite a lot of blazes. But makes it clear that he would have committed to spawner. And then here there's a little bit of micro mistake, is I unhang my pearl, and the first thing that I do is like I clear that book and craft my nether brick. But instead what I should be doing is like the very first thing is I should just be activating the spawner. Because of course that just like starts the timer. From here it's just kind of regular spawner play. There's not too much really to talk about except for like maybe the way that I like something that I could talk about, I guess, is like I'm kind of just trying to clear it in the most efficient possible way. And then here I do these crafts, and this is a mistake that was pointed out. Was when I drop this, pointed out by Dougal, by the way, when I drop this wool, I should drop 2 pieces because I only dropped 1, and then when I craft these beds, I have this extra piece of wool in my inventory, which is just a random piece of junk now. So if I drop 2, then I would have been obviously perfectly lined up on the 12 that I need to make my 4 beds. And then yeah, that's pretty much the only note until my blind, except for it would have been Dougal would have liked to see me craft more gold picks and all of my gold picks like at the same time. Because I craft a little bit, I craft 2 there, and then I craft more later. Which is obviously just like breaking up the split, which is just not good. And And then this measurement split, there was a bit of discussion about this. Duga likes it. I pearl up and then I go down and then I kind of overlap the pearl a little bit with that inventory stuff. And it's pretty clean, but there are some like notes about this is Infume says he would have purled down instead of falling, but likes purling straight up. And then Hack says he would have just not purled straight up, instead just purled down and then purled back up because I would have saved health and yeah, that I would have saved health and a little bit of time because obviously I have to wait like a second there for this pearl to actually land. So he just would have pearled down and up and I would have saved health and time. Which, yeah, sounds like the fastest possible play. The only thing is I wouldn't have had time to get this on my bar, but there's like some other opportunities for that. Okay. So the next thing that I have to talk about is afterwards, during the spawner split, it's a bit interesting. So what I do here is I'm kind of looking at this terrain because I'm trying to figure out the way that I'm exiting. And I think in my head, I thought I saw terrain being open this direction. I think like earlier, when I was running in here, let's see. I think like right before I throw the pearl hang, I like see this terrain is open to the side. I think that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, see this terrain is all open here. And so I was thinking I should go to the left. I think that's what my decision was based on. And then obviously that leads to this kind of play where I'm after these eye measurements and crafting the rest of these gold picks, I'm digging I'm like trying to find my exit and I start digging through this wall. This is a good play because it's just like fully overlapped with the spawner and like what else are you going to be doing at this point? So like a lot of people liked this play, but the biggest problem was that I forgot to use my gold picks. And I'm just mining. And also the other problem is that I'm like committing very, very hard to this. So you have to make sure that you're like still in the spawner range, which is like 16 blocks. So I just have to be aware of that, and I'm like kind of aware of that, but I just didn't know exactly the number. But yeah, I just checked, it's 16 blocks. And so I might have actually gone out of it, but I see this lava pops on my subtitles, and I should have been more, like I should have been using it better because here's an arrow obviously, and I'm mining down, and if there's no arrows, that means you're looking towards it, so I'm not looking towards it right now, and I should be looking towards it. And that's something that Infu mentioned. And then I guess the other thing is like I find that opening finally, and then I do these head hitters back. But the biggest thing was like my angle is like here, let me just show in game. My angle is 107 off of this spawner, which is directly like that way, not that way. And so if instead I mine out the back here, which is what Dougal said he would do, then we can see, and I checked this earlier, that boom, it just opens up like really close and really quickly, which is, I think my play is not like terrible because like obviously I was thinking about like how it was open over here to the side, but I do think it's better to just like follow your angle, and like I could have, what is happening? I could have looked at C counter as well over here and seen 500, and that's what I was digging towards over here as well, and so I could have just seen that and then dug out this way, and it just would have been on my line more, it would have been a better angle, and it just would have been resulted in a lot of time save. But instead I dig out here, Also, another thing to note is that Loki says he probably wouldn't have forced it that hard, instead just like ran around back out here, which is valid because I did just mine around forever to find that, and I lost a little bit of time having to run back to blazes and stuff. But yeah, the biggest thing is that I forgot my gold picks. So now the next thing is like the pearls out of the fort, and I want to be in game to show this off because I think it's pretty interesting, kind of the different opinions about this, but I end up here, which we can see in the round, I guess. I'll just show after this blaze split what my pearls were and then what other people's pearls would be, or potentially would have been. So I kind of am Xing out here, and my angle's like hard to the right, so I'm like going onto this fort, and then I throw this pearl here, and then I'm in lava, and I throw a blind pearl towards my cords, and then I swim up, and then I throw one more pearl right there, and bridge in a bit. So it's not bad. My portal's here. It's not bad, but quite a lot of people mentioned that they would have done stuff differently, so I'll just go through each one of those. So let me just make sure I have all these correct. So Firework mentioned how he would pearl. He said he would pearl probably down to the right down here, and then probably like to there, and then he doesn't know like after this third one, maybe like to there. But I think the biggest thing was that he says that I should have, it was a kind of like a mental thing. Like I should have spent an extra second checking my chords and making sure I knew exactly like, okay, I have to go to here, and then from there I can assess like the optimal pearls, but I kind of just whipped it without thinking, which is honestly true. I knew my general angle and I was trying to hit these like blocks, but then I like ended up under the lava and it ended up being really slow, and then from here I don't know why I just like pearled, and then I'm in the lava again, and then I pearl like that to like get out of the lava, but it's just like I'm throwing like the most like straight on angle lines, but it's just not good because I have to swim up out of the lava each time to actually get a perspective on like what my pearl is. So Firework would have thrown his pearl like that and then like that. He thinks, again, he didn't play the run, so he doesn't fully know. It's like hard to say what he would have done. And then Dougal would have even like thrown it earlier, maybe instead of dropping down, just like thrown the pearl down to there, and then from here he would have, let me just double check to make sure I have these correctly. Yeah, okay, so from here, he doesn't mention where he would pearl after this, but I'm guessing like somewhere over here or something. But also, the thing that pretty much everybody mentions is this pearl sucked. I pearled like this, and I'm just in lava, when I could have easily just pearled to this terrain over here on the left. Okay, that missed. Or just like this terrain right here. But basically the idea is just like go to the terrain, because you just spend way less time compared to having to swim up. And like Hacks mentioned, like if you're gonna have to throw two pearls to cords, like you never want to be pearling in the lava compared to pearling on the terrain. Um, Especially because like I just throw that pearl and then I swim up to reassess and then I throw the next one. It's really slow. And next, pearls down to left terrain. My pearls on mystery risk for minimal time save. Yeah, that's something that Dougal said. This pearl against these, so you can know that like these are pillars like that are sticking out from the ground, and so these pillars kind of like have extra blocks around here. So even if I miss this pearl, it wouldn't be that deep, and I know that. But the problem is that it's still a time loss being under this lava and having to swim up, compared to just having pearled the terrain. So that wasn't a perfect decision making on my part. One thing I forgot to mention actually as well, that was slightly earlier, my fault, is there's a moment here at this spawner, right about here where I have some downtime, and during this downtime, we can see my inventory is very cluttered because of this stuff. So I could have thrown out this extra iron, this piece of wool, these sticks, this netherrack, and Dougal mentions that it's just correct to be very aggressive with your inventory management and just very extra with it because, and his reasoning is really good, I think. Clear your inventory as much as possible during downtime. Full inventory can be especially annoying in strongholds. Items on the ground can mess with preemptive, can make it so you don't pick up the bed after death reset, and can also slow down getting food from stronghold chests. And all these things are just true. So, yes. And then he says also, a clean inventory is easier to work with mentally. You'll spend time fumbling around looking for stuff. So yeah, I agree. Just have a clean inventory, and you will notice if you watch Duval's runs, he has the cleanest inventory ever. And I think of it as like, oh, like it's time loss or whatever, but it's really not. Like it balances out and ends up being time save a lot of the time. So especially I'm not doing anything. I'm just waiting here, so it's perfect overlap anyway. So that's all that there is to mention about the fortress and the terrain to the Bastion. So lastly, we will just hit the Stronghold, and this is a little bit of a smaller like points because I don't know where exactly the Stronghold is, but I'm just gonna try and get inside. Okay. I'm just gonna mention this nav a little bit and like kind of some of the stuff that people said about it, which it wasn't as much as the other parts, of course, because it's a shorter part of the run, but I think it's still worth just kind of talking about. So, first thing, we'll just watch this, I guess, is this, this is my preemptive here. I'm just gonna fully let this play out, because it's pretty quick. So first I go to 50 entry distance and I use thin, and I get my spike back right, and I rescan just to be sure, and then I go down lower through this, and it's pretty obvious now. So that was all that there was to that, I guess, but there are some notes about it. One thing I'll mention is that Infume does like just 50% energy distance and then going on thin, and I agree. It's super clean having 50% energy distance as your only settings change, not having to go to 30 FOB. And it's just, yeah, in general, it's just clean. But both Dougal and Infume mentioned this. I should have gotten a more precise measurement earlier by using like tall macro about thin, because that is important for instant nabbing and just knowing exactly like where your line is. And the other thing that Dougal mentions is like you want to try and get that more accurate initial spike because like as early as possible, because the more you wait, then the more mob spawn. So it's like cleanest for like having the most accuracy. And then so that's pretty much only thing here. And then lastly, once I actually enter this end, I guess I should have overlapped my eye crafts earlier, but once I actually enter the end, again, I have a little bit of time loss because I don't have my gold picks on my bar. I remember my gold picks as soon as I am in here, which is kind of funny, but then I pearl clip forward. And so one thing is just to note, Infume and Fine were like, why do you pearl clip forward? But I will say what I do when I enter end is I like pearl clip forward because it's like a little bit more consistent to line yourself up with your back against the wall before you throw the pearl for the pro clip, and also because you're just a block forward, and so you're a bit closer on your next pearls, which is just like small but like nice. But they are correct in saying that the way that the end generates is, and I can show this off because it literally happens on every single end. Basically, uh, the way that the end generates is like it starts higher up and then it goes lower and lower and lower and lower. And so like what is going to happen a lot of the time is um, you'll be here. Yeah, see here in the corner. This is 56, and if I pearl clipped in the front, this is 57. My pearl clip would not connect. And so they don't like pearl clipping forward because of that. But I will say this is what I do instead because of the other benefits that I like about it is here when I first enter end, I open F3, and the first thing that I do is I check O level, and this is behind my face cam, but I check O level to make sure that this block here is 57, as well as like all the other blocks are 57. And so as long as that number is just clean and consistent all the way throughout, then I know I can pro clip safely forward. And I also think it's actually a little bit better because sometimes in very rare scenarios, a backwards pro clip, you don't have the info that it's a block higher, because it can, even looking at this end, it can be a little bit weird. Like if sections like these like pop up, then you're pro clipping backwards and you don't have the info about this block being higher compared to this block in front that you would have the info on if you checked your O level. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's good for those reasons. So anyway, I pro clip forward, and then after this we can watch my zero. So that pearl goes over. So I should have lined it up more, but it's kind of weird of a pearl. I think the biggest thing is like it feels like it's gonna be good, but I'm really close to the tower, so I just kind of sky the pearl and it goes way over. And then I have this little bit of recovery. And then I can only really make 90 because of that slowdown. And then one thing to mention here is that Infume says I shouldn't have eaten on that first explosive. Also, I changed up my build for multi-block. Just by the way, I don't do it like this anymore where I have to like place the crying beneath me, which is kind of slow. Instead, I place this like beforehand, and then I place this block immediately, which is just cleaner all around. But the biggest thing, the thing that Infume pointed out is I shouldn't be eating here because I have 3.5 hearts. I'm just totally gonna be fine on this 0. Like there's no really like point of eating, and I should instead double the first explosive. And because of my eating there, it makes the timing with this a little bit harder, and so I do that bed early, and I have to low bed there, or maybe have to low bed there, and then after that I double this bed, and then I finish it off with the anchor. But I think another thing to mention is that I should have, or it was good, something that Infi mentioned that was good, is since I'm on 90, I don't pre-place my anchors. It's not a since I'm on 90 thing, it's kind of a multi-block thing. I don't like pre-placing anchors on the lower spots specifically. I've been thinking about starting to pre-place anchor up top, but not pre-placing anchors is good on 90 because if the dragon flies, you still have all of your explosives. And then the very last thing, there's one more thing to mention that Duel mentions, is after the 0, obviously I pearl down and I'm making sure not to look at any Enderman, but what I do here is I just stack up 2, which I already knew this, and I don't know why I did this, but stacking up 2 here isn't actually perfectly safe. Instead, you have to either stack up 3 here in the fountain, or stack up 2 just outside of the fountain on some flat terrain, so that Enderman can't get you if you accidentally aggroed any. And I think that's everything. So I guess I'll just like end this off just like saying like I really enjoyed this experiment, and kind of hearing everybody's opinions about my run, and I even think like just since this run I've already improved a lot, but also just hearing like everybody's different advice and things has really helped me improve, and hopefully will help you improve, and that's what this video is for. And yeah, that's basically everything. Okay, bye bye.